This play is called Our Town. It was written by Thornton Wilder, directed by Terry Bless, Elizabeth McCochran, Tara Lynn Hayes, and Adiata Edmondson. In it, you will see Miss Fisher, Miss Sauer, Miss Welch, and Mr. Stack, Mr. Bolton, Mr. Warner, and many others. The name of this town is Grover's Corners, New Hampshire, just across the Massachusetts line. Latitude, 42 degrees, 40 minutes. Longitude, 70 degrees, 37 minutes. The first act shows a day in our town. The day is May 7th, 1901. The time is just before dawn. The sky is beginning to show some streaks of light over the east there beyond our mountain. The moon and stars, it's wonderful bright the minute for us to go, doesn't it? Well, I better show you how our town lies. Up here is Main Street. Way back there is the railway station. Tracks go that way. Polish town, cross tracks and some Canuck families. Over there's the Congregational Church. Across the streets, Presbyterian, Methodist and Unitarian. Over there, Baptist in the hollow by the river. Catholic Church over beyond the tracks. Here's the town hall and post office combined. Jails in the basement. Brian once made a speech in these very steps here. Along here's the row stores, kitchen posts and horse blocks in front of them. First automobile is going to come around in about 5 years. Belong to Banker Cartwright, our richest citizen. Lives in the big white house up on the hill. Here's the grocery store, Mr. Morgan's drugstore. Almost everybody in town manages to look into those two stores at least once a day. Public schools over yonder, high school, still a little farther over. 8:45 mornings, noon times, 3 o'clock afternoons. The whole town can hear the yelling and screaming from those schoolyards. This is our doctor's house, Doc Gibbs. And this is the back door. There's some scenery for those who think they have to have scenery. And this is Mrs. Gibbs' garden. Corn, peas, beans, hollyhocks, heliotrope, a whole lot of burdock. In those days, our newspaper come out twice a week. Grover's Corner Sentinel. And this is Editor Webb's house. And this is Mrs. Webb's garden. Just like Mrs. Gibbs. Only it's got a lot of sunflowers too. Right here's a big butternut tree. Nice town, you know what I mean? Whatever remarkable has come of it as far as we know. Earliest tombstones in the cemetery say 1670, 1680. Grovers and Cartwrights and Gibbs and Hershey's. Same names as around here now. Well, as I said, it's about dawn. And the lights on are in a cottage over by the tracks where Polish mothers just had twins. And in the Joe Crow house where Joe Jr. is getting up to deliver the paper. And in the depot where Shorty Hawkins is getting ready to flag the 5:45 for Boston. Naturally, out in the country, there have been lights on for some time. Well, milking and so on. But townspeople sleep late. So, another day is begun. Here comes Doc Gibbs coming down Main Street now, coming back from that baby case. And here's his wife, come downstairs to make breakfast. Doc Gibbs died in 1930. The new hospital was named for him. Mrs. Gibbs died first. Long time ago, in fact. She went out to visit her daughter, Rebecca, who married an insurance man in Canton, Ohio, and died there. Pneumonia. But her body was brought back here. She's up in the cemetery there now, and with the whole mess of Gibbs and Hershey's. She was really Hershey before she married Doc Gibbs in the Congregational Church there. And now it's him. We like to know the facts about everybody. And here comes Mrs. Webb. Come downstairs to make her breakfast, too. That is Doc Gibbs. Got that call at 1:30 this morning. And here comes Joe Proud Jr. to deliver Mr. Webb Sentinel.
Morning, Doc Gibbs.
Morning, Joe.
Somebody been sick, Doc?
No, just a pair of twins born over in Collegetown.
Do you want your paper now?
Yes, I'll take it. Anything serious going on in the world since Wednesday?
Yes, sir. My school teacher, Miss Foster, is getting married to a fellow over in Concord.
I declare, how do you boys feel about that?
Well, of course it's none of my business, but I feel that if someone starts out to be a teacher, she ought to stay one.
How's the knee, Joe?
It's fine, Doc. I never think about it at all. Only, like you said, it tells me when it's going to rain.
What's it telling you today? Going to rain?
No, sir.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
Knee ever make a mistake?
No, sir.
I want to tell you something about that boy Joe Crown there. Joe was awful bright. Went to high school here, graduated head of his class. So, he got a scholarship to Massachusetts Tech. Graduated head of his class there, too. It was all wrote up in the Boston paper at the time. How to be a great engineer Joe was. But, the war broke out, and he died in France. All that education for nothing.
You know, Dusty,
And here's Howie Newsom delivering the milk.
morning, Dusty.
Morning, Howie.
Somebody sick?
No, just a pair of twins over this Boris last week.
Wait, Nick. This town's getting bigger every year.
Going to rain, Howie?
No, I'm fine, Nick. I'm a doctor. Come on, Dusty.
Hello, Bessie. How old is she, Howie?
Going on 17. Dusty's been all mixed up about the route ever since the Lockhart said he didn't put milk every day. She wants to do the report just the same. Scolded the trip. Morning, kid. Doctor coming up.
How is he? Seems like you're late today.
Yep, something wrong with the separators. Don't know when to work. Doc?
Howie.
Children, time to get up! George, Rebecca! Oh, everything all right, Frank?
Yes, I declare, easy as cakes.
Bacon will be ready in a minute. Sit down, drink your coffee. You can catch a couple hours sleep this morning, can't you?
Miss Wentworth's coming at 11. I guess I know what about 2. Her stomach ain't what it ought to be.
We're all told you won't get more than 3 hours sleep. So I don't know what's going to become of you. I do wish I could get you to go away someplace and take a rest. I think it would do you some good.
Emily, time to get up. Wally, 7 o'clock.
I declare, you've got to speak to George. Seems like something's come over him lately. He's no help to me at all. I can't even have some wood.
Is he sassy to you?
No, he just whines. All he thinks about is that baseball. George, Rebecca! You'll be late for school! George!
George, look sharp!
Yes, Bob.
Don't you hear your mother calling you? Guess I'll go upstairs and get 40 wings.
Wally, Emily, you'll be late for school. Wally, you better watch yourself good or I'll come up and do it myself.
Mom, what dress shall I wear? Don't make a noise. Your father's been out all night and needs to sleep. I washed and ironed that blue gingham for you special.
Ma, I hate that dress.
Oh, hush up with you.
Every day I go to school dressed like a sick turkey.
Now, Rebecca, you always look very nice.
Mama, George's throwing soap at me.
I'll come up there and slap the both of you. That's what I'll do.
We got a factory in our town, too. Hear it? Makes blankets. Cartwright's on it and a cargo fortune.
Children. Now I won't have it. Breakfast is as good as any other meal and I won't have you gobbling like wolves. It'll stunt your growth, and that's a fact. Put away your book, Wally.
Oh, Mom. By 10 o'clock, I gotta know all about Canada.
You know the rule as well as I do. No books at the table. As for me, I'd rather have my children healthy than bright.
I'm both, Mama. You know I am. I'm the brightest girl in school for my age. I have wonderful memory.
Eat your breakfast.
I'm bright too. When I'm looking at my stamp collection.
I'll speak to your father about it when he's well rested. Seems to me like 25 cents a week is enough for a boy your age. I declare I do not know how you spend it all.
Oh, Ma, I got a lot of things to buy.
Yeah, strawberry phosphates, that's what you spend it on.
I don't see how Rebecca comes to have so much money. She has more than $1.
I've been saving it up gradual.
Oh dear, I think it's a good thing to spend some every now and then.
Mama, do you know what I love most in this world? Do you? Money.
Eat your breakfast.
Hurry!
Let's go!
I don't want any more.
Miss
Walk
Foster,
fast,
my
but you
best
don't
graduation.
run.
Can you remember that?
Ashley, walk
Yes,
straight.
Mom. You look very nice, Rebecca. Pick up your feet.
Bye.
Here, chick, chick, chick. No, go away. Go away. Here, chick, chick, chick. Oh, what's the matter with you? Fight, fight, fight. That's all you do. You don't belong to me. Where'd you come from? Oh, don't be scared. Nobody's gonna hurt you. Oh, good morning, Myrtle. How's your cold?
Well, I still get that tickling feeling in my throat. I told Charles I didn't know as I go to choir practice tonight. Wouldn't be any use.
Have you tried singing over your voice?
Yes, but somehow I can't do that and stay on the key. While I'm resting myself, I thought I'd string some of these beans.
Oh, let me help you. Beans have been good this year.
I've decided to put up 40 quarts if it kills me. The children say they hate them, but I notice they're able to get them down all winter.
Now, Myrtle, I've got to tell you something, because if I don't tell somebody, I'm going to burst.
I'm Julia
Here,
Gibbs.
give me some of those beans. Myrtle, did one of those secondhand furniture men from Boston come to visit you last Friday?
No.
Well, he called me. First, I thought he was a patient wanting to see Dr. Gibbs, and he wormed his way to my parlor. Myrtle, but he offered me $350 for Grandmother Wentworth's highway as I'm sitting here.
Why, Julia Gibbs!
That old thing wire was so big I didn't know where I was going to put it, and I almost gave it to Cousin Hester Wilcox.
Well, you're gonna take it, aren't you?
I don't know.
You don't know? $350? What's come over you?
Well, if we could get the doctor to take the money and go away someplace on a real trip, like sell it like that. You know, Myrtle, it's always been a dream of mine to visit Paris, France. Oh, I don't know, it sounds crazy, I suppose, but for years I've been promising myself that if we ever had the chance...
How does the doctor feel about it?
Well, I did beat around the bush the one said. If I got a legacy, that's the way I put it. I'd make him take me somewhere.
What did he say?
Oh, you know how he is. I haven't heard a serious word out of him since the day I've known him. No, he said, it might make him discontent to Grover's Corner to go tracing about Europe. Better let one nothing alone, he says. Every 2 years, we take the same trips to the battlefields of the Civil War, and that's true enough for anybody, he says.
Well, Mr. Webb just admires the way Dr. Gibbs knows everything about the Civil War. Mr. Webb's a good mind to give up Napoleon and move over to the Civil War. Only Dr. Gibbs, being the greatest expert in the country, just makes him despair.
It's a fact. Dr. Gibbs is never as happy as when we were at Antietam or Gettysburg. All the times I have walked those hills with him, stopping at every bush, pacing it all out, as if we were going to buy it.
Well, if that second-hand man's really serious about buying it, Julia, you sell it. And then you'll get to see Paris, all right. Just keep dropping hints from time to time. That's how I got to see the Atlantic Ocean, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry I mentioned this. Only to me it seems like once in your life, before you die, you have to visit a country where they don't speak English, and don't even want to.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. Now we're going to skip a few hours. But first, we want a little more information about the town. Kind of a scientific account, you might say. So I've asked Professor Willard of our state university to come sketch in a few details of our past history here. Is Professor Willard here? May I introduce Professor Willard of our state university? A few brief notes, thank you, Professor. Unfortunately, our time is limited.
Grover's Corners, let me see. Grover's Corners lies on the old Pleistocene granite of the Appalachian Range. I may say it's some of the oldest land in the world. We're very proud of that. A shelf of Devonian basalt crosses it with the vestiges of the Mesozoic shale and some sandstone outcroppings, but that's all more recent. 200 and 300 million years old. Some highly interesting fossils have been found there. I may say, unique fossils. 2 miles out of town in Sally Spector's cow pasture. They can be seen at the university at our museum at any time. That is, at any reasonable time. Shall I read some of Professor Grover's notes on the meteorological situation? I mean, precipitation, etc.
We want to time for the Professor. We might have a few words on the history of man here.
Yes. Anthropological data. Early Amerindian stock, Cotahatchee tribes. No evidence before the 10th century of this era. Now entirely disappeared. Possible traces in 3 families. Migration toward the end of the 17th century, English, brachiocephalic, blue-eyed stock, or for the most part. Since then, some Slavic
And the
Mediterranean,
population, Professor Willard?
within the town limits, 2,640.
Just a moment, Professor.
Oh, yes, indeed. The population at the moment is 2,642. The postal district bringing in 507 more, making a total of 3,149. Mortality and birth rates constant. By McPherson's gauge, 6.032.
Thank you very much, Professor. We're all very much obliged to you, I'm sure.
Not at all, sir. Not at all.
This way, Professor, and thank you again. And now, the political and social report. Editor Webb. Oh, Mr. Webb.
He'll be here in a minute. He cut his hand while eating an apple.
Thank you, Mrs. Webb.
Ronald! Everybody's waiting!
Mr. Webb is the publisher and editor of the Grover's Corner Sentinel. That's our local paper, you know.
Well, I don't have to tell you that we're run here by a board of selectmen. All males vote at the age of 21, women vote indifferent. We're lower middle class, sprinkling up professional men, 10% illiterate laborers. Politically, we're 86% Republicans, 6% Democrats, 4% socialists, rest indifferent. Religiously, we're 85% Protestants, 12% Catholics, rest indifferent.
Have you any comments, Mr. Webb?
Very ordinary town, if you ask me. A little better behaved than most, probably a lot duller. But our young people here seem to like it well enough. 90% of them graduating high school settled down right here to live, even when they've been away to college.
Now, is there anyone in the audience who would like to ask Editor Webb anything about the town?
So much drinking in Grover's Corners.
Well, ma'am, I wouldn't know what you would call much. Saturday nights, the farmhands meet down at Ellery Reno Stable in Hollisaw. We've got 1 or 2 town drunks, and they're always having remorse of him evangelists in town. No, ma'am, liquor ain't a regular thing in the home here, except in the medicine chest. Right good for snake fight, you know. Always was.
Is there no one in town to
Come
work?
forward, will you, where we cannot hear you? What were you saying?
Is there no one in town to work social injustice or industrial inequality?
Oh, yes, everybody. Something terrible. Seems like they spend most of their time talking about who's rich and who's poor.
Then why don't they do something about it?
Well, I don't know. Seems like we're all hunting like everybody else for a way the diligent and sensible can rise to the top, and the lazy and pro something sinks to the bottom. That names being fine. Meanwhile, we do all that we can to help those that can't help themselves, and those that can, we leave alone. Are there any other questions?
Oh, Mr. Webb, is there any culture or love of beauty in Grover's Corner?
No, man, there ain't much. Not in the sense you. Come to think of it, there's some girls who play the piano at the high school commencement, but they ain't happy about it. There isn't much culture, man, but this may be the place to tell you that we've got a lot of pleasures of a kind here. We like the sun coming up over the mountain in the morning, and we all notice a great deal about the birds. We pay a lot of attention to them. And we watch the change of the seasons. Yes, everybody knows about them. But those other things, you're right, man, there isn't much. Robinson Crusoe in the Bible, and Hampton's Barber, we don't know that. Whistler's mother. But those are just about as far as we know.
So I thought, thank you, Mr. Webb.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Now we'll go back to the town. It's early afternoon. All 2,642 have had their dinners and all the dishes have been washed. It's an early afternoon calm in our town. Buzzing and humming come from the school buildings. Only a few buggies on Main Street, horses dozing at the hitching post. You remember what it's like. Doc Gibbs is in his office, taxing people, making them say, ah. Mr. Webb's cutting his lawn over there. 1 man in 10 thinks it's a privilege to push his own lawnmower. Oh, sir, it's later than I thought. Where are the children coming home from school already?
I can't, Lois. I gotta go home and help my mother. I promised.
Emily, what's Simply, who do you think you are today?
Papa, you're terrible. One minute you tell me to stand straight, the next minute you call me names. I just don't listen to you.
Oh, golly, I never got a kiss from such a great lady before.
Excuse me, Mrs. Forrest.
Go out and play in the field, young man. You've got no business playing baseball on Main Street.
Awfully sorry, Mrs. Forrest. Hello, Emily.
Hello.
You made a fine speech in class.
Well, I was really ready to make a speech on the Monroe Doctrine, but then at the last minute, Miss Corker made me talk about the Louisiana Purchase instead. I worked an awful long time on both of them.
Gee, it's funny, Emily. From my window up there, I can just see your head nice when you're doing your homework over in your room.
Why, can you?
You certainly do stick to it. I don't see how you could sit still that long. Guess you like school.
Well, I feel it's something you have to go through.
Yeah.
I don't mind it really, it passes the time.
Yeah. Emily, what do you say we work out a kind of telegraph from your window to mine, and once in a while you could give me a hint or two about one of those algebra problems. And I don't mean the answers, of course not, Emily. Just some little hint.
Oh, I think hints are allowed, George, so if you get stuck, you whistle at me and I'll give you some hints.
Emily, you're just naturally bright, I guess.
I figure it's the way a person's born.
Yeah, but you see, I want to be a farmer on my Uncle Luke's farm, and he says whenever I'm ready, I can just come over and work, and if I'm any good at it, I can just gradually have it.
You mean the house and everything?
Yeah. Well, thanks. I better be getting out to the baseball field. Thanks for the talk, Emily. Good afternoon, Mrs. Wiley.
Good afternoon, George.
So long, Emily.
So long, George.
Emily, come in and help me strain some of these beans for the winter. George Gibbs let himself have a real conversation. Why, he's growing up. How old would George be?
I don't know.
Well, let's see, he must be at least 16.
Mom, I made a speech in class today and it was very good.
You must recite it to your father at supper. What was it about?
The Louisiana Purchase. It's like silk off of school. I'm gonna make speeches my whole life. Mom, are these big enough?
Try to get them a little bigger if you can.
Mom, will you answer me a question? Serious?
Seriously, dear, not serious.
Seriously, will you?
Of course I will.
Mom, am I good looking?
Yes, of course you are. All of my children have good features. I'd be ashamed if they hadn't.
Mom, that's not what I mean. What I mean is, am I pretty?
I already told you, yes. Now, stop it. You have a nice, young, pretty face. Never heard such foolishness.
Mom, you never tell us the truth about anything.
I am telling the truth.
Mama?
Were you pretty? I guess I was, if I do say it. I was the prettiest girl in town. Next to Mamie Cartwright.
Well, Mama, you gotta say something about me. Am I pretty enough to get somebody to get people interested in me?
Emily, you make me tired. Now that's enough of that. You're pretty enough for all normal purposes. Now, come along and bring that bowl with you.
Mama, you're no help at all.
Thank you. I'm up to an armchair again. Thank you, Mrs. Webb. Thank you, Emily. There are a few more things we want to explore about this town. This is a good time to tell you that the Cartwright interests have begun building a new bank in Grover's Corners. It's going to Vermont, marvel, sorry to say. And they've asked a friend of mine what they should put in the cornerstone for people to dig up 1,000 years from now. Of course, we're putting in a copy of the New York Times and Mr. Webb's Sentinel. We're kind of interested in this because some scientific fellas have found a way of painting all that reading material with the glue, silicon glue. And it'll make it keep 2,000 years. We're putting in a Bible, Constitution of the United States, and a copy of William Shakespeare's plays. What do you say, folks? What do you think? You know, Babylon once had 2 million people in it. All we know about them is the names of the kings and the copies of the wheat contracts and contracts with sale slaves. Yet, every night, all those families sat down to supper, and the father came home from his work, and the smoke went up in the chimney, same as here. And even in Greece and Rome, all we know about the real lives of people is what we can piece together from the joking poems and the comedies they wrote for theater back then. So I'm going to have a copy of this play put in the Cornerstone. So people 1,000 years from now will know a few simple facts about us. More than the Treaty of Versailles and the Lindbergh play. See what I mean? So people, 1,000 years from now, this is the way we were in the provinces north of New York at the beginning of the 20th century. This is the way we were in our growing up, in our marrying, in our living, and in our dying. Well, a good deal of time's gone by. It's evening. There's choir practice going on at the Congregational Church. Children are at home doing their schoolwork. Days running on and a tired clock.
Now, everybody. Music come into the world to give pleasure. Softer, softer! Get it out of your head that music's only good when it's loud. You leave loudness and repetitiveness. Again, tenors.
Psst. Emily.
Hello.
Hello.
I can't work at all. The moonlight's so terrible.
Emily, did you get the third problem?
Which?
The third?
Why, yes, George, that's the easiest of them all.
I don't see. Could you give me a hint?
I'll tell you one thing. The answer's in yards.
Yards? How do you mean?
In square yards?
Oh, in square yards.
Yes, George, don't you see?
Yeah.
In square yards of wallpaper?
Wallpaper. Oh, I see. Thanks a lot, Emily.
You're welcome. Why, isn't the moonlight just terrible? And choir practice going on? I think if you hold your breath, you could hear the train all the way to Contra. Hear it?
What do you know?
Well, I guess I better go back and try to work.
Good night, Emily.
Good night,
And
George.
thanks.
And before I forget, how many of you will be able to come in Tuesday afternoon to sing at Fred Hershey's wedding? Yeah. Show your hands. That'll be nice. That'll be right nice. Now we'll do the same we did for James Roper just last month. Art thou weary? Art thou languid? Yes. Okay. Now it's a question, ladies and gentlemen. Raise your hands. Okay. Again.
Oh, George. Can you come down a minute?
Yes, Bob.
Make yourself comfortable, George. I'll only keep you a minute. George, how old are you?
I'm 16, almost 17.
What do you want to do after school's over?
Why, you know, Bob. I want to be a farmer on Uncle Luke's farm.
You'll be willing, will you? To get up early and milk and feed the stock? And you'll be able to hoe and hay all day?
Sure I will. What do you mean, Pop?
Well, George, while I was in my office today, I heard a funny sound. And what do you think it was? Why, it was your mother chopping wood. And there you see your mother getting up early, cooking meals all day long, and still she has to go out into the backyard and chop wood. I suppose she got tired of asking you. She just gave up and decided it would be easy to do it herself. And you eat her meals and put on the clothes she keeps nice for you, like she's some hired girl to keep around the house that we don't like very much. And all I had to do was draw your attention to it. Here's a handkerchief, son. George, I decided to raise her spending limit. 25 cents a week. Not, of course, for chopping wood for your mother, but because as a present you give her, but because you're getting older, and I imagine there's things you may find to do with it.
Thanks, Father.
Tomorrow's your payday, you can count on it. Becca feels she probably ought to have some more too. Wonder what could have happened to your mother. Choir practice never lays this before.
It's only 8:30, Pop.
I don't even know why she's still in that old choir. Can't any more voice than old crow. Trips around the streets this hour of the night. About time you retired, don't you think?
Yes, Pop.
Good night, Martha. Good night, Mr. Foster.
I'll tell Mr. Webb. I just know he'll want to put it in the paper.
Hi, it's late.
Good night, Irma.
Emily's choir practice, wasn't it? Myrtle Webb, look at that moon, won't ya? Potato weather for sure.
Naturally, I didn't want to say a word about it in front of those others. But now that we're alone, really, it's the worst scandal that ever was in this town.
What?
Simon Stinson.
Oh, now Luella.
But Julia, to have an organist of the church drink and drunk year after year, you know he was drunk tonight.
Now Luella. We all know about Mr. Stimson. We all know about the troubles he's been through. And Dr. Ferguson knows it too. And if Dr. Ferguson keeps it along there in his job, the only thing for the rest of us to do is just not to notice it.
Not to notice it, but it's getting worse.
No, it isn't, Luella. It's getting better. Now, I've been in that choir twice as long as you have. It doesn't happen anywhere so near as often. I hate to go to bed on a night like this. I better hurry. Those children will be up to all hours. Good night, Luella.
Can you get home safe, Luella?
It's as bright as day. I can see Mr. Soames scouring me from the window now. We've been to a dance where these men both carry over.
Well, we had a real good time.
You're late enough,
Oh, Frank, you made later than usual.
and you stop at the corner to got with a lot of hands.
Oh, Frank, don't be grouchy. Come outside, it's not a huge intro from the moonlight. Isn't that wonderful? So what did you do all the time I was away?
Oh, I read, as usual. What was Rose gossiping about tonight?
Well, believe me, Frank, there's something to gossip about.
Simon Stimson far gone, wasn't he?
First I've ever seen him. How that'll end, Frank. Dr. Ferguson can't forgive him forever.
I guess I know more about Simon Stimpson's affairs than anybody else in this town. Some people just ain't built for small town life. I don't know how that'll end, but there's nothing we can do but just leave it alone. Come, get it.
No, not yet. Frank, I'm worried about you.
What are you worried about?
Well, I feel this mind you to make plans that you get a real rest and change around here. And if I get that legacy, well, I'm going to insist on it.
Now, Julia, there's no sense in going over that again.
Oh, Frank, you're just unreasonable.
Come on, Julia. It's getting dark. First thing you know, you'll catch cold. I gave George a piece of my mind tonight. I reckon you'll have your wood chopped for a while, anyway. Start getting upstairs.
Oh, dear. There's always so many things to pick up, it seems like. You know, Frank, Miss Fairchild locks her door every night. All those people at that part of town do.
They're all getting cityfied. That's the trouble with them. They ain't got nothing fit to burgle. Everybody knows.
Out, Rebecca. There's only room for one at this window. You're always spoiling everything.
Well, let me look. Just a minute.
Use your own window.
I did, but there's no moon there. George, do you know what I think? Do you? I think the moon's getting nearer and nearer, and there'll be a big explosion.
Rebecca, you don't know anything. If the moon was getting near, the people that sit up all night with telescopes would see it first. And they'd tell all about it, and it'd be in all the newspapers.
George, is the moon shining on South America, Canada, and half the whole world?
Well, probably is.
9:30. Most of the lights are out. No, there's Constable Warren trying to feed doors on Main Street. And here comes Senator Webb after putting his newspaper to bed.
Good evening, Bill.
Oh, evening, Mr. Webb.
All quiet tonight?
Simon Simpson's rolling around a little. Just saw his wife moving out time for him, so I just stayed away. There he is now.
Good evening, Simon. Town seems to have settled down for the night pretty well. Good evening. Yes, town settled down. I guess we better do the same. Can I walk along the ways with you? Good night.
I don't know how that's gonna end.
Well,
So,
he's seen a peck of something. One thing after another. Oh, Phil. If you see my boy smoking any cigarettes, just give him a word, will you? He thinks a lot of you.
I don't think he smokes no cigarettes, Mr. Webb. At least waits no more than 2 or 3 a year.
I hope not. Good night.
All right, Mr. Webb.
Who's that up there? Is that you, Myrtle?
No, it's me, Papa.
Emily, aren't you in bed?
I don't know, I just can't sleep yet. The moon looks so wonderful. The smell of Mrs. Gibbs' heliotrope. Can you smell it?
Yes. Had any troubles on your mind, have you, Emily?
Troubles, Papa? No.
Well, enjoy yourself. But don't let your mother catch you. Good night.
Good night, Papa.
I never told you about that letter Jane Crawford got from the minister when she was sick. He sent Jane a letter, and on the envelope, he addressed it like this. It said, Jane Crawford, Crawford Farms, Grover's Corners, Sutton County, New Hampshire, United States of America.
What's funny about that?
But listen, it's not finished. The United States of America, continent of North America, the Western Hemisphere, the Earth, the solar system, the universe, the mind of God. That's what it said on the envelope.
What do you know?
And the postman brought it just the same.
What do you know?
That's the end of the first act, friends. 10 minutes intermission.